Signore e signori, buonasera. Benvenuti alla Casa Italiana. Welcome to Casa Italiana. And welcome for this 35th edition of N.I.C.E, New Italian Cinema Events in New York. It's very easy for me to remember their age because it's exactly the same as Casa Italiana. We also just turned 35. And we are delighted that we built this collaboration throughout the years. And this year in particular, they are bringing us beautiful films and discoveries on some levels. Tonight we're going to see, as you know, a documentary on Eleonora Duse, apparently the greatest actress ever. I haven't seen her act, but we should trust the people that believe that. And we're going to talk about Duse and about the film. It's a film by Sonia Bergamasco, who is an actress and the director. And tonight we have here with us the editor, but I'm going to leave to Mila to introduce everybody properly. What is the mission of N.I.C.E? Is to bring to New York, but also in Russia and in many other places in the world, contemporary Italian cinema. And their specialty is normally to bring films that are either the first work or the second work by a director. So normally directors rather at the beginning of their career. And I have to say that in these 35 years, I've seen them really explore and discover great talents that then eventually became some of the most important directors in Italy today. This is what I had to tell you. I'm delighted that you're here for the documentary on Eleonora Duse. And I remind you that it's martedì. Martedì, don't miss the movie. It's L'Oro del Reno. Does sound familiar? What is it? Bravi, bravissimi, the Rheingold. Yes, but it's all based on a misunderstanding. The beginning, it's a sort of a paradoxical comedy, if you wish. Somehow it has some Fellini element, some Fellinesque element of dreamlike reality. The big misunderstanding is that there is a group of students from the conservatory in Tokyo that are in a journey of discovery of Wagner. So they take a plane, they arrive in Europe, but they go to the wrong Rhine River. You might not know that there is a Reno, Fiume Reno, in Bologna. So you have this group of Japanese students on a boat in the middle of Bologna with a cassette recorder boosting Wagner. And that's where it begins. So do come on Tuesday. That's the second film that we have presented here for N.I.C.E. So I gave you a live trailer of the movie, as they used to do in the past. Appreciate it, please. And, scusa? And we're going to have the director of the movie is going to be present. And now, since she's basically saying the things that I'm supposed to say already, please welcome the Executive Director of N.I.C.E in New York, Mila Tenaglia. Grazie.
Thank you very much for being here. This is a special occasion since it's the 35th edition of N.I.C.E Film Festival. Also, it's a special occasion for Duse as well, since it marks the 100th anniversary of her passing. We are here, a special guest tonight, Federico Palmerini, who is going to join us later for the Q&A. And he's the editor of the film, and so he's going to talk about the archival material and how he worked with the director and how was his mission for the film. Also, as you know, director Sonia Bergamasco couldn't be here tonight, but we have a video message for you. And Julian, if you like.
Buonasera a tutti. I'm Sonia Bergamasco, director of Duse the Greatest. And there is a lot of America in this story of art and life. Eleonora Duse was at home in New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh. And as you can see, this creature, who many years ago launched Seeds for the Future, was loved and followed by an international audience. I feel that presenting Duse the Greatest here is both a return and a new beginning. Grazie to my dear friend Viviana De Bianco, who invited me to come. Grazie to everybody who made this festival possible. I regret I won't be with you. And I hope that the film we made with a group of artists of great value. Ciao Federico, so che sei lì a New York. can convey to you the enthusiasm, love, and trust that we need more than ever today. And I hope you can feel Eleonora Duse closer to you, present. So, have a good movie, and Viva Duse.
And before to introduce you my colleague Matilde Castagnoli, Executive Director in Italy of N.I.C.E, I would like to share a short director's note from Sonia Bergamasco about the film. With this film, I set out like a detective to follow the traces of Eleonora Duse. She's a legendary actress who opened the way for future generations with this unique power of her presence on stage. At the center of this search is the actress' body, her whole labyrinth. With Duse the Greatest, we try to shed light on the craft of acting today, how it has changed and what place it holds in our imagination. And now I leave the floor to Matilde Castagnoli. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Both Mila and Stefano have already said everything that there is to be said. So I just bring the greetings of Viviana Del Bianco, the artistic director and founder of N.I.C.E. She's very... Viviana sends her regards, and she's very sad that she couldn't be here. But I'm here in her stead. And yeah, the mission of N.I.C.E. is to bring the new cinema to you all. So it's very nice to see a full house and enjoy the film.
Please welcome Federico Palmerini. Good evening again, and thank you, Federico, for coming all the way from Italy to present the documentary on Eleonora Duse. And you are the editor. So now our audience is extremely versed in cinema, but why don't we just say briefly, what does an editor do?
Okay. Hello, everybody, and thanks for being here. And okay, let's say that in a movie like this, we do a lot of things. And yes, because basically we do the research. We have to go through the archive, whatever it is, if it's photos, if it's letters, if it's, I don't know.
Films?
Yeah, all the genre, all the... So it's a lot.
So you put things together. But the question is actually about being an editor for a documentary like this, where you have a variety of different materials. Whereas normally your situation will be, you are in the editing room, with a bunch of film that has been shot by the same person within a span of time, right? With a narrative line that is very clear.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens, as we were saying before, that colleagues of yours, and maybe you have done it too, sort of turn upside down the structure that the director had in mind, and in the editing room, the film takes another structure. But here it's very different, because you have to deal with different materials coming from different places, different ages. So it's a further challenge in the process. Were you with the director at all times when you edited, or?
Almost all time, also because Sonia obviously is an actress, so she was also shooting a movie as an actress. So we talked a lot, I have to say. Also because the first time she called me, she was like, you are my third option, first of all. And I was like, okay. And yeah, I mean, it was good. And then she was like, what do you know about Eleonora Duse?
So she gave you a little exam before going on to the fourth option.
And I was like, almost nothing. And she was like, it's very good for me because, as you will see, she really didn't want to do a biopic or a sort of a tribute or an hagiography. So she was looking for someone who could also put her away from the academical and the reconstruction.
So she did not want to do an autobiography. She did not want to do a biopic. What was the other thing?
Tribute.
A tribute. Very good.
Yeah.
So how would you define then this documentary? It's none of those things, and it's true.
We talked a lot about this. I really see it as an investigation.
Okay.
It has a sort of noir elements, let's say, and we also wanted like the soundtrack, especially as a sort of Western-ish vibe. In fact, our main reference was the Killers of the Flower Moon soundtrack.
The recent movie by Scorsese.
Yeah, because we like the idea of this sort of investigation of an unknown place.
And basically, you were investigating a character that is still largely unknown, even to the experts, right? They know very little. We know that there has been this cleanup of her memory. The very devout daughter didn't want anything that could throw like a shadow of immorality on the mother, and for many other reasons. We know very little. And also, when the people interviewed, they tend to repeat more or less the same thing about Duse, and it's very indefinite. They cannot say very precise things because, first of all, nobody saw her act. And the film is only one, not representative of her work. So it was not easy to work with this kind of material. But I found it also a very personal film, very subjective film, where the voice of Sonia Bergamasco, the director, who's also a great actress, is definitely present. It's La Duse secondo la Bergamasco. Was it difficult to try to convey also that personal, that I found it very endearing? I mean, I'm interested in knowing what a great contemporary actress has to say about another actress of that kind.
Yes, it was kind of, because we were all the time trying not to like to be an ode, to be like a tribute.
Okay.
But we really wanted to give a personal perspective about the echoes of this mythological creature at this point, because we don't have any kind of contemporary archive, let's say. So there is like a brief, let's say a video, no sound recordings. There is nothing like a classic archive. It's everything really from another century that it's really problematic if you want to put it inside the movie, because you have photos, everything is kind of very like still, no?
So, I mean, there were photos that were mostly very posed, taking a picture at that time, especially with La Duse. I can just imagine the photographer staging every single detail. So hardly photographs that convey something of her inner self.
Yeah, in fact, we needed to understand which could be our layer to propose this kind of another century aesthetic, basically. And so this is why we continuously go with cross-dissolving from photos to our footage to another footage, because it's also sort of, let's say, weird representation of what was happening on the tables we had in our editing room, because we had piles of books and then photos and then letters and then some laptop playing some videos, everything all together. So how can we, at a certain point for us was very clear how we could do it. So at a certain point the problem was, what can we use to do this? Because we understood like let's say our language inside this detection, because for us is a detection, is an investigation, personal, like loving, but first of all is an investigation of a ghost.
There is another ghost in this film, that Italians that know very little about Duse, if they know one thing about her, is that she was one of Gabriele D'Annunzio's lovers. That's how she ends up in the textbooks for high school. You learn Le amanti di Gabriele D'Annunzio, and she's one of them. They tell you also that she was the most important one. She was the only one that left him. They tell you that he always was in love with her. You got rid of all that D'Annunzio stuff. So he's the other ghost in the film, because basically you ghosted D'Annunzio. He's gone. He's gone. I'm glad you did that. I don't particularly care about D'Annunzio.
Okay.
But it was a very
Likely. Okay.
It was a very brave choice.
I mean, it was one of those things that was already in the script, because I also asked Sonia, like, the second time we met, because that was one of the few things I knew about Eleonora Duse. And she was like, okay, everybody knows about this thing, so I want to skip the gossips. I want to go beyond this thread, basically.
But it was more than, I mean, the gossip definitely, but he wrote for her. Some of the major plays that he wrote were written explicitly for her. He says many times that she was the source of inspiration. So it was not only the love affair, but it was a very intense intellectual understanding.
Of course.
But you got rid of it. Sonia did.
Sonia really didn't want to go through. She really wanted to give space to...
I totally understand the choice. D'Annunzio lived a life on the spotlight. He loved it. He's the one that defined what a diva or a divo is, and not only in contemporary Italy. He basically staged his own life as if his life itself was the work of art that he produced. His house is a work of art in the sense that every single detail had to be a form of performance. And Duse lived a very hidden life. When she was not on the stage, she was not. She did not want, you heard about the interviews, no public presence. So I think it was a very good idea, actually, to take her off the shadow of D'Annunzio. But a little thing I need to tell you. When you go to Gardone, that is the place where you have the residence of Gabriele D'Annunzio. That is a museum, excessive. If you need 4 chairs, there are 20. If you need a vase for flowers, there are 85, all of different styles. It's the accumulation of objects. But one is very, very impressive. And when you enter his study room, your attention is drawn to that, because it's a marble head, and it's covered with a black veil. And under that veil, there is a portrait, a head, of Eleonora Duse. And he would say, I cannot live without her, but her gaze paralyzes me. And that's why he covered her. So for the rest of his life, he lived with Duse, but with Duse velata nel suo studio.
We had that footage. And Sonia was like, this tastes like death. I don't want it.
And also because it was his idea. It had nothing to do with Duse. Yeah. We doubt that Duse authorized or approved any of that.
We really like these, the photos we have that are very, like, out from the spotlights. Mm-hmm. Like, they seem to, like, naive lovers shooting photographs of each other through the bushes. So that was the most like Sonia will do about that.
And the film came out in Italy when, Federico?
Last year.
Last year. And it had a circulation in movie theaters, festivals, right?
Yes.
Very good. Questions for our guest about Eleonora Duse, but in particular about the film that we just saw. You're not going to be tested on D'Annunzio, no worries.
Thank you so much for the film. I truly enjoyed it. I was wondering if you could talk, because I know that you edit also fiction films, so I was wondering if you could talk how different it is for an editor to work on a work of fiction rather than a documentary, and what was the relationship in this particular case with the director like?
Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for me, editing on a documentary is like being in a like wide open sea, basically. You have a wide range of possibilities, and you need to be very sharp about trying to understand what the movie is going to be. And you are really able in documentary also to go back and change almost everything. So it's way more challenging, I would say. But like from my point of view, it's also way more rewarding, because you can really create There are like, I don't know how many sequences we created based on footage we didn't have. It's all about like some other movies, some other old archive that seems like, that resembles like what we're talking about. And so we can like a little bit fake what we have to tell and using whatever we needed. But this movie really talking, about basically a ghost. We felt like we could do basically whatever we wanted. So sometimes when you are so like free to do whatever you want, it's kind of scary because you can like lose control. And
yeah, absolutely. And following up to this question, that was also part of my first question. There are directors now of documentaries that made deliberate choice of using only footage that already exists. Doesn't that make their job incredibly similar to yours? I mean, if you, that's what you do. You take pieces that other people shot and you put them together. And it's a very interesting way of making documentaries, and some of them are beautiful. We had here, for example, Alina Marazzi for to teach a masterclass, and that's exactly what she does. She has never shot a scene, and she does a great job. And then there are many other examples. So, but in that case, really, the border between the job of the director and the job of the editor is very, very thin.
It's extremely intertwined. Yes, also because a lot of like N.I.C.E shots in the movies, like Sonia shot like behind me. We had a little table and all the books, basically we displayed the books on the table and she was like shooting directly behind me and she was like, okay, so what do you need? Do you need this kind of, okay, I'm gonna do it. And she was like behind me already. So it was really...
shot as you need.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hi, thank you for the film. I've got a couple of questions. I'd like to know, as an editor, how were you able to go places in your own craft that this material encouraged you to go? And so did you grow in your own creativity? That's question number one. Question number two is, your use of music was sparse and pointed, and I wondered what your thought was behind that. And number three, I was like, I could go to four, but...
You can ask four.
Ahead.
You can ask four, but he's always only answering one.
I was taken how you did, it seemed to me, a lot of handheld shots. And you included the movement, right?
Yeah.
And like a lot in the film, you choose not to cover up blemishes on photographs. You showed women with wrinkles. You know, you went in close. And it was beautiful to see. So how are you making those decisions? And, you know, but don't forget my first question.
No, do you want to repeat your first question?
No, I remember. Okay.
Bravo.
I would say, so if I grew my creativity on that, 100%, yes. I felt I was really free to do so many things that, I don't want to say illegal, but kind of. For example, when we first showed the movie at the Rome Film Festival, the cinema historic that talks about Cenere, at a certain point there is a cross dissolved between his close-up and Eleonora Duse. And at the end he came to me and was like, did you really do it? And I was like, yes. Why did you cross dissolve my face with Eleonora Duse? It was good. It was great for me, he said. So it was great. I mean, yes, is obviously is like me right now, not used to talk in front of so many people, and he's not used to be shown in a movie, and then his face crossed dissolved with Eleonora Duse. It was like, this was amazing for me. So I think we played a lot with the possibilities of communication and language in this movie. Like, really, I think the cross dissolved between so many different things, between so many different mediums, is really what was happening in our minds, but also really physically what was happening in our room, because we were full of books also. We have so many of these like shots, handheld shots, because there are so many books that basically doesn't exist anymore. There are books of Sonia, personal archive from the 20s, from the 30s, from publishers that doesn't exist anymore. So the only way was like, let's do it old-fashioned, like. And so yeah, I felt extremely free to go in areas where, I don't want to say prohibited, but so many things you also stop yourself from daring some choices, let's say.
Uncharted territory.
Yeah. And the second question was about the music. And what was exactly the question?
It was sparse, and so at points that you used it, it was very distinct. And so, what's behind the decision making? You don't have to answer.
No, I mean, it's more. For us, it was so many times like creating new chapters, okay? Like trying to widening the meanings of what was going on. But for us, was really important the kind of music, because we really wanted to escape the idea of a extremely like lyrical, poetic kind of project. We really wanted to have it like a little bit of to make it a little bit more raw. And so that's why there are electric guitars that can be like weird maybe, but it was also our way to make it feel like very vital, like the journey was alive basically. And the third question was? Yes. Yeah. But I will say that's one of the reasons we really want to do this documentary. We were looking for this kind of representation. We really wanted to uncover something that was kind of masked. So we were really interested in, to treat with the handheld camera something that felt very still and old-fashioned and old, or that belonged to an old aesthetic. And we really wanted to make it like more vibrant, to look, to give our sense of our vitality behind the journey and the investigation.
We have time for one more question, if we have it. Yes.
Most of the people you interviewed were people who were related to her somehow through art. You know, you actually had archives of people who had seen her, who had performed with her. I'm aware of more of a personal anecdote about Eleonora Duse. I read the autobiography of Isadora Duncan, and Isadora Duncan's 2 children had drowned. And she was heartbroken by this. And she went and visited Duse, and Duse insisted on seeing pictures of the children and really sharing her grief with her. And so I'm curious about, were there in the history and in archives, were there other more personal reports or accounts about Duse that we did not see so much?
Okay, these were all the interviewed people we had, basically. And yes, Sonia with Maria Paola, which is the other screenwriter, they had to make decisions, basically, because there was so much. And we could go on also with the anecdotes, like forever. So, yeah, Isadora Duncan is a part that is just briefly mentioned at a certain point. But, I don't know, maybe with Duse Chu we will go on that.
The film we presented is Duse the Greatest, and here with us tonight we had Federico Palmerini, the editor, and we thank him very warmly for his presence with us.
Thank you very much.
And as we mentioned, this is part of N.I.C.E, New Italian Cinema Events in New York. Our next event is going to be on Tuesday, November 25th at 6:30. Remember what the title of the movie? The Rheingold. Vi aspettiamo. Thank you. Have a great weekend.